in the Middle East, we know what's going on there. They're flinging money around like confetti, it would seem. None more so than the Qataris who are trying to take over Manchester United. Qatar's Sheikh Yassim says his fifth and final bid has gone in for Manchester United, and after today, that's it. Time up. He'll no longer engage in the process. We've seen what's happened in Saudi Arabia. They've got in Karim Benzema, 200 million a year, is it? N'Golo Kante said to follow. I mean, the money here is insane. And now golf has essentially this week been bought out by the Saudi investment fund PIF after the merger with the PGA and the DP Tours. You'd have to say this is, if it's not, it's close to being the most impactful week in the Middle East race for sporting influence, isn't it?
Oh, it's part and parcel of a different agenda to be able to make sure that the economy of these Middle Eastern countries aren't just solely determined by what's underneath their sand. And so when you've got, certainly in Saudi, the PIF fund and their redirection of the asset classification that's inside their 650 billion sovereign wealth fund, and they're looking at sports, and they're looking at using sports influence to be able to engineer different corporate deals, different relationships with tourism, different mentalities about using the Middle East as a hub for business. There's a whole raft of things here.
Yeah.
Sports being crowbarred into that. Tragedy for us, insofar they have a right to bid for things. They have a right to participate in sports in the same way that we do. We don't get to just own sports because once upon a time we had it and it was ours, and subsequently we should keep it forever. They do have a right to participate.
Of course.
The challenge for us is that the consequences of their participation, the only way they can participate is by financially breaking everything and turning it into an absolute free-for-all economically. I do genuinely believe in football that there should be a general governance that looks the same across the globe for financial fair play. So that means that they can't do what they're doing. They can't come along and create
for that. I agree with you, Simon.
Can't create this outlier mentality. No, it is because there's no will. Because on one hand, vested interest rails against the establishment of this money, and other parts of it do business with it on a variety of different fronts. So you're in a sort of territory where it's very difficult to find an end game. But it is, you've got the boxing world, with the acquisition from Skills Challenge of Usyk's signature and probably Deontay Wilder, the very close relationship between Anthony Joshua and KSA will create another opportunity for them to be very influential in boxing. They're not going to play there. They're going to eventually... what they've done this week by buying golf is equivalent to buying the Premier League and the FA and UEFA, and then deciding that that's the rules that everyone plays by. That's what they've done in golf.
There's a message going through there. We've got Live Golf. How soon Live Boxing?
I just told you.
How soon? It could be a matter of months. The way things are going, it's all so fast moving, isn't it?
But the economic might of these countries is disturbing, because most countries have got a balance of payments deficit in terms of what they bring in against what their cost implications of their society is. These countries have trillions in the positive, and so they have so much money that they are able to just turn out people's lights and change the landscape. And we have to watch it, and we have to watch what we're attempting to achieve. Tragedy is we're in a globalised world, and Man United are a globalised band, owned by Americans that never really bought it, leveraged it. There you go, Man United fans, I'm in your corner now. But they're going to sell it to whomsoever they want. And with that will come more influence and more opportunity to create the overall game plan. And some would say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, that's the globalised world we live in. That's what we expect of the world. That's what happens. Others would say, I'm not sure that's fundamentally right. I would be in the middle of it, saying I can understand one side of the argument. I'm more in the camp where saying we need to preserve certain aspects of sport. When it's not because I made 100 million quid and these kids are making 200 million quid in a year for kicking a ball around. It's not that. But I do think there is a level of remuneration and value that we are attributing to football and sport and players individually that is getting towards the realms of being preposterous.
It's got to be somebody extraordinary that stands up and says, no, I don't want your money. And that extraordinary person is Lionel Messi, is it not?
I don't suppose...
Saudi tourism ambassador, Messi, chosen to Miami and not the Saudi Pro League.
If we're to believe that
he was down $2 billion.
If we're to believe he was offered $2 billion, if that's to be believed, I don't suppose he's going home in an Uber from the training ground into Miami every day. I'm sure he'll be getting very, very well remunerated there. But if he's chosen to go to Miami because he doesn't want to play in a certain type of football, and also can't get back to Barcelona because of various challenges there, and would like to be out of the way of publicity. Well, geez, if you want to be out of publicity, don't go to Miami. I mean, you just get just as much publicity in Miami as you will do anywhere else in the world. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I watched Messi's conduct when he left Barcelona, and I don't worship at the temple of Messi. You know, we had this big debate a couple of years ago where everyone said, "Oh, he'll be leaving Barcelona." I said, "No, he won't. Not now. He won't. He'll go when Barcelona decide he goes." And that's what duly happened. He didn't go that season, despite all the huffing and puffing and ill-informed Sky journalists standing outside his house when he wasn't even there. And all of that goes on. So I don't know. And of course, he's gone to PSG, and that's not been. I mean, there's no doubt he's a brilliant player. There's no doubt he's probably one of the best players that's ever walked on a football pitch. Right? No one disputes that. But then we look at the other side of it and say, did he cover himself in any particular glory in PSG? He seems not to have done. His goal-scoring record is still remarkable, but it's not as prolific as it was when he was at Barcelona. But then again, he's 35, 36 years of age. Of course, we just had the Messi World Cup, which wasn't a Messi World Cup for me at all. It was a World Cup that I wanted England to win, and I couldn't care less if Messi won it or not.
No, I remember you told me that.
Well, why should we?
Incessantly while we were out there.
Absolutely. He have a war with his people.
He's gone to Inter Miami because it didn't work out at Barcelona. He wanted to go back to Barcelona. It couldn't happen there, so he wants to leave Europe.
But so he says, see, there's this great love in sections of the media where we have to go back to these sentimental tosh, and we have to look at things through sentimental eyes. We suggest that he might want to go back to Barcelona. We suggest that he might have gone there for free and played for free. And those things, I don't believe them. I don't believe them, and not because I'm some cynical old curmudgeon.
Well, Barcelona said it.
Well, he'd pay there for free. Well, that's Barcelona suggesting a reason, saying something for their own reasons.
It could be done.
Because you can't pay somebody nothing, and everyone knows that.
That's right.
Everybody knows it. So Barcelona saying, well, we wanted him back and we'd have paid him nothing and he'd have come back for nothing. Well, this is a silly conversation because he can't do it. You know he can't do it. He knows he can't do it. So when you say those sort of things, I would have done it for nothing, you're never going to have to be tested on it, are you?
Well, of course. And in the end, Messi has kind of bucked the trend in a week that has seen more and more Middle Eastern investment in our sports.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.